Day 2 of the 2024 Australian Open is upon us, and as usual on Australia's Gold Coast, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and the bowls will be doing the talking. It's Jimmy Reynolds up against Joel Broughton today, both representing New South Wales. Jimmy from Cabramatta and Joel from Avoca Beach. Val Febo, my name, and joining me is the one, the only Barry Lester, who is safely through to the men's singles second round. Baz, welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Val. It sure is a beautiful morning. We've actually got some clouds today, can you believe it? But as the sun just reaches the top of that high rise, this green is almost fully in sunlight. So, mate, what a great green this is. We saw it the other night, and just seeing the bowls go down the roll-up, it is perfect conditions this morning. Yeah,
it was humming on Friday night. And the horn goes off. Jimmy Reynolds right at home, Parajackaroo world champion, up against Joel Broughton. Jimmy will set the length. Really looking forward to this one and seeing Jimmy, who's in the red XGs. And the vehicle of choice for Joel, Aero Optimas in the white, blue and yellow. Speaking of vehicles, Joel, I'm having a chat to him before, Baz, he's an automotive spray painter.
Wow. Okay, you've done your homework today, Val. Look out.
It's literally just that last minute prep. But he's one of those people that, you know, you see all those satisfying videos of people spray painting cars, which is one of those ASMR things. And they are fantastic.
Hopefully he doesn't spray any bowls across the rink today, mate.
Oh, it's good by you. Good start to the morning.
No, but yeah, with these conditions, expecting high-quality play. Green speed just around the 15.5 second mark. Perfect speed for me. Anything around that 15 seconds, you can't go wrong.
And we've got the paddle colours as well. So Jimmy is in the blue paddles, if you see those raised by our marker. Carol Protopappas, who does a great job with Bowls Australia's rankings as well, her and her son Lucas. And then Joel is in the yellow paddles as well. But of course, the AO is proudly brought to you by Aero, who are the largest manufacturer of the most accurate bowls ever made. More sizes, models, grips, and over 65 colours, Barry, innovating the game for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a huge component to the sport, Val. The manufacturer is giving back to the sport, providing the goods for all their athletes. And we're seeing a huge array of colours out there across the tournament already. And as you see this one coming down the green, it's called the Surf and Ski colour. It's all happening. I started bowls in 1996. And it was plain clothes and black bowls back then. And the game has really come on leaps and bounds since the colour has come into the sport. You have to see the uniforms, the marker, the colour of the markers' clothing, and then just even the mesh signage around the green. It's great to see plenty of colour in the sport and colourful characters. And none more colourful than James Reynolds.
And Jimmy, getting to know him a little bit, being, you know, BA Pathways coach and coming to our staff conferences and all those sorts of things. He is a very funny individual. He says that he's very introverted and, you know, but he's just such a kind soul. But we were playing pool one night and my God, the sledging that was coming out of his mouth.
He loves a banter.
Very, very funny man is Jimmy Reynolds. And I'll tell you what, he could be laughing at the end of this first end because he is right on the money, Barry Lester. Yeah, full count on the offer.
Definitely coming in from a high line, that ditch side, and all four bowls right down the spine of the rink there, holding 4 shots. It's I've always said get your line and feel your weight. And unfortunately for Joel, he hasn't quite found either. But he needs to try and save a few shots here.
Is he under?
Needs to clear the front.
Might have affected the count by 1 maybe. Let's have a look at what Carol indicates for us here. That's a 3 to Jimmy Reynolds to start proceedings. So the right, it is only a 2.
I think it's a 2.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Carol does an amazing job. Her and Lucas love their game of bowls and they give back to the sport as well as a lot. They have done at club level and now with Bowls Australia's ranking system. It's great to see.
Yep. And of course, the Australian Open is the the climax of those rankings, because at the end of the month of June, that's when we see who the year-end or the calendar year-end number one player in the country is. Looking forward to seeing how that all transpires at the end of the Australian Open.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, Val. I've been fortunate enough to finish the year in that position, but heading into the Australian Open, there's that sort of, do you think about it? You got three disciplines to play in: singles, pairs, and fours. And if you're high in the rankings, somewhere around that top, sort of half a dozen, it's a funny one. Some people probably go out and let it play on their mind and sort of try and play to win and do well in the rankings, and some people probably just go out and play and let it be what it will be. And so the year Josh Thornton and I won the Australian Open pairs, that was enough to sew up my position as number one, but I never really thought about it right until the end. So it'd be interesting to see how players approach it, because it's a pretty prestigious title to have that on your resume, on your CV as a bowler, with so many quality players across Australia and no doubt in this event.
For sure, Barry, and got a lot of high-quality players playing around the Australian Open today. Clive Adams, Rinkside Clive himself, is on our green right now. Cody Packer's around the traps at Broadbeach. Your day yesterday, you got through 3 wins on the bounce, and you're through to the knockout stages.
Yeah, had a good fun day over at Robina. Very eventful day. A couple of close wins and met some new people. Yeah, so it was what it's all about. Getting out and meeting new people in the sport. You can't go wrong. But Jimmy Reynolds here, he's found, as I mentioned, you want to find your line early in a game of bowls. I always find that's the key. And then just feel your weight. But Jimmy, he hasn't had a bowl outside of probably a yard to 4 feet yet. And 2 of the 3 there right down the middle. But I think for Joel, nice reply here. Just needs to shift something. Well, he's halved off. I think for Joel, he has to just try and stay true to what he's doing. He hasn't quite found it yet, but don't go searching for it. I think just find a hand, stick to it, and try and get some rhythm up on that. Whereas the more you swap and change early in a game, I think it can throw your rhythm off more, and you won't find any sort of muscle memory. Considering the forehand and the backhand, they're 2 separate deliveries. So the more you're swapping and change, it can really hurt your rhythm.
Singles is all about that muscle memory.
Yeah, and as you see, Jimmy, okay, he's played 4 forehand, 4 backhand, but it's been the same side of the rink. He's got a feel for the width. And I don't know who sang the song, but it might have been Billy Joel. Don't go changing. Too early for that, Val?
Say that's Billy Joel? Bit before my time, actually. But I know the song. But my musical trivia is not great. Let's see what the final count is here for Jimmy Reynolds.
Maybe our viewers can help us with that, hey?
Yes, for sure. Get to some of those viewers very shortly after this has been adjudicated. I'm leaning towards a 3, but it could be very, very close to a maximum for Jimmy Reynolds. And that is a 3 to the right at home Para Jackaroo. So he takes a 5-0 buffer after 2 ends, and got Lucas Protopappas watching. His mum Carol is the marker, the better Protopappas, because she's not an Essendon supporter. And of course Lucas has no right to reply, so I can say whatever I want.
Who does Carol actually support?
Hawthorn, I asked, so she'd be pretty happy with yesterday's.
They're up and about, the Hawks.
Yep.
Yeah, I know a few Hawk supporters would be very chuffed right now. Maddie Lucas and Johnny McCarron.
My fiancée, Rach, is a Hawks supporter, and she was absolutely wrapped yesterday. Hopefully next Saturday she's not, but...
Good on them. I'm a big fan of the Hawks, or any sort of underdog team, so good on them. Hopefully they can turn things around. And underdogs.
Locke's just saying they've won 4 flags in the last 15 years.
Well, we don't want to see Collingwood win again, do we? Richmond's had their fair share, but the poor old D's have only won 1 in the last 60 years, so we want them to do well.
Do we?
So Jimmy Reynolds, 10 inches away.
Right on the money.
9 deliveries, all on the one hand. Just, once again, just knowing the arc, knowing the feel of the hand, and he's found some really good rhythm early on. So Jimmy Reynolds, 5-0. Talking about a world champion here, and a player that not only has won big titles in the disability sector, but geez, a lot of open events as well.
But he's
look at this, Jimmy Reynolds.
He's been to the Australian Champion of Champions. He's constantly featured at state and national level. And for someone that, has dominated the para space over the last couple of years, it's easy to forget the things that he's done in the open space, but he's one of the best exponents of this sport that the country has to offer, and an even better human being. But you never know in singles, and Joel Broughton has just got to find his range here.
Avoca Beach.
Yeah, we had a look at that before, where it might be, and looks like a beautiful spot, Barry.
Yeah, beautiful part of the world. Jimmy Reynolds, look at that. I'm writing down some stats here. I've got Jimmy, one bowl outside of 4 feet. That's not bad, is it?
It's pretty good.
Out of, 11 deliveries I've got here. So 7 deliveries on the forehand, 4 deliveries on the backhand, and 1 outside 4 feet. That's impressive.
A little bit of weight here from Joel Broughton, but just wide. So he's got a nice little catchment behind here if he does want to take the jack back. Jimmy's just surveying that, and he might put one behind.
Yeah, especially
just for some cover.
Especially with the respot, Val. But this is a tricky head. It might just look like, get one back at the respot. So what that does, I suggest, Jimmy does get the backest bowl, because then it makes Joel play harder weight to trail the jack. Whereas if you don't get the backest, he probably thinks, well, I can go really big, and I've got the tee. So I think Jimmy needs to win the tee here and make Joel play really hard weight or tricky weight to get the jack clean. But there's 2 options for Joel: either go real big, take a few bowls out, reduce the count, or put the jack in the ditch. I think he'll go really big with his last, not knowing his game, but
Jimmy
is just say that.
Putting one back right in this catchment. It's not the backest bowl, Barry Lester, but it's in a very good home.
Yeah, so that splits the 3 up, but jack in the ditch would be 2, or if it kills 1 or 2. And this is the key to this shot's playing weight you're comfortable with as well. So, and that is tricky weight, that sort of just arriving speed.
So that's going to miss wide once more, and Jimmy Reynolds powers out to an 8-0 buffer after 3 ends in this contest. Other players that are featuring today around the Gold Coast, 14 magnificent host clubs on Australia's Gold Coast, proudly supported this event by Experience Gold Coast through Tourism and Events Queensland. Of course, we thank them for all of their support and everything they've done for the Australian Open. Right there, look at that. Ali Forsyth, Gary Kelly, Cody Packer, Clive Adams, of course, as we mentioned before. Had a lot of players yesterday go through.
You might be able to help me, Val. What's different about Clive? Is the hair shorter, or
compared to everybody else on the
No,
rink?
he just, something looks different. I can't pick it.
He's the only one wearing pants. That's the only thing I can. Oh no, there's one more wearing pants. There's 2.
You're good. No, and is that the marker, or is that a player?
No, that's a player.
Okay.
But no,
yes.
I
I reckon he's gone a bit shorter with the
hat's throwing you. I think it looks more normal than.
I reckon he might have been in the gym or something. I reckon he's dropped a couple. He's looking good. All I know is he's looking fresh.
He's looking good.
Clive Adams.
Well, Clive's back at the AO, and I think you're right, Baz. He's looking good. But I think he's back at the AO. He's excited. He's been messaging me for months about the Australian Open. He absolutely loves this time of year. Whether it's an AO or a BPL, Clive Adams is always there for it. Doing wonderful work at Bowls WA now since he left us.
This is starting to look scary. Jimmy Reynolds, another one inside 18 inches. Nice shot there from Joel. That's a really good opener. Just in behind the jack. Gives him something to play to now. Bit of extra confidence when you've got a bowl past the jack early. So first to 21. Jack gets respotted if it goes out of bounds. And I went over to the rink earlier, stepped it out. So it's around that 5 metre mark. So you've got a fair bit of room either side to work with if the jack moves around the rink. As Jimmy just says, I'll draw a front toucher if you don't mind. This is superb bowling from Jimmy. The hardest thing for Joel here is now to be patient, to be able to just keep backing himself on the draw, building the head. That's a great shot from Joel Broughton. Well done.
There is. Look at this, Baz. Lockie Williams with his own phone, handheld.
There it is.
There's the trademark Adams. He's running down the rink as well. He's chasing. He loves it.
Jimmy Reynolds just missing under. He's still got one, but once again, 3 bowls inside a couple of feet. The effective rate here is incredible from Jimmy.
Chloe Morrison has joined us. Wow, this James Reynolds has potential. Chloe, one of the more charismatic players that we have in our sport. Very funny. Fiona Hall, we've got Clive at Mudgee Bar on Thursday. Looking forward to meeting the great man. I forget that Fiona hasn't properly met Clive. One of the great people at Mudgee Bar is Fiona Hall. She did such a mountain of work for the World Bowls Championships last year. She was magnificent. And still is magnificent.
Yeah, Jimmy Reynolds here. He, I guess he got to sort of strike while the iron's hot. He can make potentially 3 shots here.
Watch him do it too, Barry. I've got all faith.
We're only talking 2 or 3 rolls of that bowl at 3 o'clock of Joel Broughton's, but he's just going to finish under here.
So an opportunity here for Joel Broughton.
Yeah, trail the jack for 2. Now he needs to move it about a yard to 4 feet, and he makes 2.
I'd say Jimmy's still got the shot here. Joel Broughton. Will we see those yellow paddles finally raised aloft by Carol Protopappas?
He's in the area.
He's close.
He's got it.
Magnificent from the Avoca Beach products. And what will this be? Could this bowl at 1 o'clock possibly come into the equation for a third? Possibly. Look at the replay here, Baz.
Yeah, he got it right in the middle. Beautiful, using that nice wide drawing turn on the south side of this rink. And picked it up clean for 2. Perfect weight. Couldn't be any bigger than that, because if he was a bowl high, he takes his own out for 3 down. And that's that contingency play. You've always got to be looking at the contingencies in bowls. If you're high, if you're low, if you're heavy, before you play each shot.
Well, his job and profession of automotive spray painting, he would know all about precision. And that's exactly what that bowl was from Joel Broughton. He will control the length for the first time in this match, and he's gone fairly long here. This is going to be very close to tee.
Yeah, that's a good call for Joel. He's obviously seen the rhythm that his opposition's in, and he's just breaking that up now with a bit of extra length. And if it doesn't come off, it's not the end of the world, but you've got to have method. You must have method before you go into the game. As I said, those contingencies. What if your opposition does feel rhythm early and you don't? And you've got to make some observations. And with that, Jimmy's been playing 23, 24 metre lengths, and now Joel's stretched it right out to 33, 34 metres here.
The thing is, he needed to be up a little further there.
And it's pretty much expected, Val. The first long end in most games, in sort of most levels or conditions, that you're trying to get a feel for it, and your first bowl just sort of pulls up short. I know Jimmy's short, but not that short. But it's just sort of human nature. No, it's just human nature. You're just trying to feel it out. So Joel's switching to the forehand here, which, once again, he didn't do it too much wrong with his first delivery. You know, okay, 4 foot short on a decent line, but he's trying to switch hands here, which, as I said in the first few hands, it just does play with your muscle memory. The forehand and backhand deliveries are 2 separate deliveries. They're completely different. The way you set up, the way you deliver the bowl. So I'd like to see him just trying to get in a rhythm on one hand like Jimmy has. Jimmy's played every bowl on one side of the rink. And this is a really, I guess, a good observation here for not only us, but people at home watching. This is the worst head so far out of what we've seen some great heads.
Yeah.
Reason being, because it's the longest length so far. It's a new length. And this is what this is doing is hurting the rhythm of both players. So if you're ever playing in a game of bowls where your opposition's playing really well and got some rhythm up, as soon as you get the mat, you've got to do something different. And if it doesn't work for you and it doesn't work for the opposition, it's not the end of the world, but you've got to try something.
Jimmy Reynolds wants this one to get around. It's turning back hard, but nonetheless, that'll do for second. So holding 2 currently. The last bowl of Joel Broughton's end, changing hand once more. Barry Lester.
Yeah, it's a tough effort to switch hands so many times and try and still come away with some form of, well, he's just missed Jack there. So
he was very close.
If I was Joel's coach on the sideline right now, I'd be saying, mate, just grab one hand and stick to it and get some rhythm going. I remember the gold medal match, Alan Ryan, now Fife, in Birmingham. Karen Murphy having a chat to Alan Ryan. Not bad when you got Karen Murphy on the sidelines.
It's pretty handy.
And
then all those wonderful bowls brains in the stands as well, as Jimmy Reynolds puts another one in for 3. So he's into double figures already, is the world champion and Com Games bronze medalist. 11-2 is the scoreline after 5. So Baz, continue.
Yeah, just saying how the conversation, I think it was down the lines of Alan was playing great, but the way the game shaped, there was a little bit of forehand, backhand, and once Alan stuck to one hand and nailed it, she came away with the win from there. And
it was such an amazing comeback as well. I believe was it 12-3 she was down against Lucy Beer?
Do you know what? I just got a tingle up my back, just like going there, just going back to that moment.
Well, we were very lucky to be in the stands that day, and Locke as well. We were.
Yeah,
that was honestly one of the most fun experiences that I've had, and even the pairs final between Chrissy and Els and Amy Farrow and Sophie Tolchard. That is still to this day the best match of bowls that I've watched.
Yeah, it's definitely in my top half a dozen. I was lucky enough to see Calvin Kirko.
Yes, you were there.
Play Robert Wheel in 2006, Darabin, and to come down to a measure to keep the game alive and then go to a tiebreak. Third end, it was amazing. That was probably the one that stands out for me. But yeah, there's been some amazing games, and not too many better than those two. But all, Lucy in the singles and the girls in the pairs from England, they all played so great, and they were big games. And we finally saw Jimmy play one bowl that sort of isn't effective as such, not quite nailing the weight or the line on this occasion, but he was due. Stewie due.
Stewie Dew's still working at Australian cricket, isn't he? Had a good win this morning against England, although England will give themselves the moral victory, we're sure. Tracy Wallace, I was in the stands that day surrounded by England fans with my Aussie flags. We were pretty loud. Was this in Birmingham?
That's right.
Tracy?
Yeah, Tracy was there. Yeah. And the best thing about, we weren't quite sure what to expect from an English crowd playing Commonwealth Games on English soil. We did prepare for a little bit of, maybe a bit of extra hostility, but I must admit I walked away and I've done a few speeches here and there at various places, and the English crowd were first class. Anywhere you went, they wanted to see your medal or, pat you on the back, shake your hand and say, well done, great game. And just seeing the way they spoke about and treated other players from other countries too, it was absolutely brilliant. And,
the volunteers at Birmingham were sensational. It was probably the first time I'd ever been asked to take a photo with someone because they thought I was an athlete because they gave me all the Australian gear. And then someone asked me for an autograph, and I'm like, no, you don't want mine. I'm not an athlete.
I think it's the rig, Val. I think it's the rig,
sure.
mate. That tall, broad, just the way you're walking around there.
Yeah, sure.
I think they were like, this guy has to be, what is he, basketballer?
Oh, yeah, sure. One of the shortest basketballers going around.
So Joel, he's managed to nail it here.
Yeah, this could be a little collect for him.
Yeah, it's one of those bowls Jimmy's got to think about trying to crack an egg, try and turn it off. The jack, he's close. Jimmy Reynolds, if you don't mind. 1 down to potentially 3 up.
It's scary good, isn't it?
That weight control on that wide swooping hand, look at that. Half bowl, jack out to the side. That's experience and that's class.
And this is where it makes things hard for Joel because he's got to go out to a new line, different length. So it's not an easy one for him, although he's not far away here, Joel Broughton.
But on these greens, it makes it so much easier. What a shot. How beautiful is that wide drawing line?
He made it look a lot easier than what it is, but he'll take the one and win his second of the last 3 ends. 11-3 is the scoreline.
Gorgeous day. It'd already be 20, 21 degrees in the sunshine. Not even a breath of wind.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yesterday, the wind did pick up a little bit later on in the afternoon in session 3. But there's not many places you'd rather be in winter than right here on Australia's Gold Coast. Baz, what are some of the things, I know you live up here, you're the mayor of the Gold Coast. What are some of the things you enjoy getting up to, if you had to go to a restaurant or something like that?
I definitely love the surf club environment. Pretty lucky where I am. I can go to either Cabramatta or Cell. I can go to Palm Beach, Tullibudgera surf clubs. There's some nice places. Take the dog. And very, very dog-friendly Gold Coast. We see a lot of people out very early in the morning when the sun's up walking their dogs, very active in this weather and climate. So I love riding my bike. Some nice bike rides where you got ocean views. I love that. And then just going to the range. I'm right into golf now, so going to the range, hitting some golf balls. I don't get much time to be able to sort of play a full 18, take up a full day sort of thing. But when I do, I absolutely love it.
Nice.
I got my golf buddies, Aaron Sheriff, Nathan Rice, David Munt, a few of the boys. Dean Smith like to get out. That's really about it, mate. Just enjoying the sunshine and the beach. Great restaurants too, and we've got a brand new chef here. And
the croissants, Barry Lester. Wowee. And
obviously with this new decking, it's a great place to be. Broadie Bowls.
Yep, those I had one of the plain croissants yesterday, and they were very, very, very nice. I'll be sampling the chocolate one very soon.
Yeah, I must admit I'm not really up to speed with croissants, but I'm gonna give it a crack just for you, mate.
I like when you try things for me, Baz.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. But no, the menu here and Angela, the new chef, it's outstanding selection of great food. And Jimmy Reynolds holds one again. Joel though, he's getting a bit of rhythm up now. A couple of bowls just just outside the yard there, or on the not too far away.
Sorry, Angela, asking for a score update on Ian Johnson. Those scores will be updated after each session of today's play. There's no live scores at the present, so we do apologise, but you'll just have to check at the end of this session and they'll be uploaded as soon as the match is over. Each session is timed out at 2 hours and 15 minutes as Joel Broughton has gone a little bit longer with this end, but Jimmy Reynolds has found his range once more. And have a look at this, Barry Lester.
Yeah, just the trust the players are putting into this green it's 100%. To be able to just play dead draws, as we saw Joel the end before to win the end. Jimmy throwing that out there on the south side, the ditch side. When you got greens as good as this, it's beautiful, and conditions too. The trust factor is massive. You just need to back your ability, back your process, and the rest should work itself out on these conditions. We're seeing some weight here from Joel. Forehand needs to hold on. he needs some luck from here. He's just missing. He managed to hang around, so he might still be just the 2 down here now. Joel Broughton, we'll find out. Carol Protopappas having a good look here. 1 and a measure.
Got the great Swanee Wallage from Moama Bowling Club. Congratulations, Barry, on the successful rematch night. It was a great watch. Certainly was a great watch. Jimmy Reynolds, as he puts down his final bowl of the end. Will he make it a 3?
Great track.
It'll come around nicely.
He's done it.
And sensational from the Para Jackaroo.
Whatever happens from here on, obviously we want to see Joel fight back and make it a tight tussle. But if Jimmy keeps this up and runs away with it, you know what? If Joel watches this game back, it's just and if it stays the way it's going, it's just going to be a too good moment. And because the way Jimmy Reynolds is playing, he would be beating, if not really testing, some of the world's best players right now. And we talk about Gary Kelly's on premises, Ali Forsyth, these kind of level players. Jimmy would be testing these guys out big time.
Geez, Gary Kelly, Baz, is in a rare vein of form. Didn't lose a competitive match last week at all. He was 15-0 before Ryan Bester beat him in the rematch, and he almost even won the Mega Bowl last night.
Who did?
Gary Kelly.
Yeah, he had a go at it, did he?
Semi-finals.
So Gary Kelly played Mega Bowl. He played him rematch Friday night.
Yep.
Mega Bowl Saturday night.
Yep.
As Jimmy picks up a 4.
No, it's only a 3.
Wow, okay.
So 14-3 is the scoreline. Jimmy Reynolds forging ahead within 2 ends of victory now.
I think Gaz is heading home to Ireland in a few weeks. I think he's trying to maybe get a bit of extra cash to pay for an upgrade. Maybe some premium economy seats or something.
Maybe.
There you go. Well, that's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah, he just loves it. And he's in that vein of form at the moment, Gary Kelly, where everything he's touching is sort of turning to gold. So why not have a crack? And of course, you can too. Saturday night, get your entries in before 5:30 p.m. $10 cash, and if you win, you take home the lot, Barry Lester.
Yeah, nice. So $10 entry.
$10 entry, all cash.
Winner takes all.
Yep. So 128 people maximum.
So okay, I might have to ring my accountant.
Early.
Do I have to declare that or
no? Nothing.
Tax free.
No.
$10 entry.
Don't just shh. But get in early.
All right, mate.
We had a full list last night. It's all clear. Go home and spend it wherever you want.
Yeah, definitely.
Email Paul Holschke, pholschke@bowls.com.au for any questions, or go and see him in the back office at Broadbeach. He's always happy for a chat. Is Paul?
Yeah, some
man of the people.
What's that? Raspberry licorice he loves.
Yep, and he's already consumed a bag of red frogs.
Jimmy Reynolds,
which I did help with.
2 bowls pretty much right down the middle. 1 a yard short, then finding that correction. The thing with Jimmy Reynolds also, I speak a lot about body weight in techniques. Jimmy's always been that player. Pendulum, but really does launch forward at release, gets a nice flow of his body weight moving forward. Yeah, lovely delivery. Gets right in behind the bowl at release and then moves forward, keeps moving forward through the technique. And as much as he's a quality player, having all the right skill sets in his technique does help him do this time and time again.
So it'll be 3 at the moment for Jimmy Reynolds. Joel Broughton has won the last 2 ends in this direction. So that'll give him some sort of confidence, but he's having to constantly find something amazing with his last.
Yeah, it's that high effective rate from James Reynolds, just putting bowls inside that 2 feet scoring zone time and time again. Geez, I love the way he gets in behind the bowl, Jimmy. That back knee goes down. Keeps nice and square through his top half. Doesn't turn too much lateral movement, and he just does this.
Yep.
And it's fair to say, if you're watching now and you're watching more of Jimmy moving forward or throughout the Australian Open, if you're watching him live, see what he does. It is a really good technique to be able to set him up time and time again. And not far away here, Joel. Love this speed.
Close.
Well, he can't play it much better. Well, he might have.
He might have affected the countdown to 1. I still think it's Jimmy's.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Might have cut one out. We can't quite see from here.
1 kicked out. That might help us. It's close. Might have to get the tape out once more.
So did I read correctly, boys? The 13 or 1400 singles players in the men's field?
In between that, over 1,300 players in the men's singles, which is quite unbelievable. So we had 328 sections. So let's multiply that by 4. Get the calculator out.
No buys in there, or a couple of buys, or no buys?
1,312 people, Barry Lester. That is just one to James Reynolds.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
That's his first single of the match.
So let's focus on that, Val. So, okay, you've got to win 11 or 12 games to win the Australian Open singles. But let's look at that from a numbers perspective. You walk away, you win the Australian Open singles. You've defeated a field of 1,312 people.
It's pretty unbelievable.
That's
and Aaron
crazy.
Sheriff has won the last 2.
That's crazy. And you're talking
Yep.
all the Jackaroos, New Zealand internationals,
Malaysian internationals. Izzat Zulkepler's here as well. It's bizarre how many players you have to beat.
And how many days is that? So you play your sectional one day, your post-sectional another day. So to go through and...
So you got to play 10... If you got to win 11, that's at least 8 days of bowls. Yeah. Or maybe not, because you play a couple of your post-sectionals. Yes,
so it's 6 days of bowling at multiple venues.
Just singles.
In multiple conditions. So you might go potentially indoor at Helensvale on the carpet. You might go Paradise indoor. You might go southern end of Gold Coast, northern end of Gold Coast. You might play on greens you've never played on before. And you walk away winning the Australian Open singles in a field of 1,312 players, 6 days of bowls. Wow.
It's amazing.
And Aaron Sheriff's won 5 of them. I know in different formats, Aaron having won his first one down there at Shepparton in sets play, but still, and at the one venue, but still, it's a crazy, crazy achievement to win 5 of them.
It certainly is. Just quickly, Joel Broughton right on the jack. Jake McCutcheon asking if Baz is playing singles. Yes, he is. He's already through. Successful day yesterday at Robina for Barry Lester.
Yeah, we've had no rain now pretty much for about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Not since the district sides were here, really. So we've been lucky, and the greens have been good. And the forecast, well, I always get a little bit nervous talking about the forecast because when you say how good it is,
it's good.
You're getting closer to your next sort of bad day. But when you do look at the weather, it's incredible. 22, 23 degrees, sunshine predicted, no light winds. So you guys in here in the commentary box and in production, you're going to be witnessing some high quality bowls as we've seen today already. Nice shot from Joel in around the back there. And yeah, happy to get through yesterday in the singles and looking forward to the pairs already on Tuesday. And then the fours on Thursday.
For sure. You're the defending champ in the fours, Barry Lester. It's a pretty handy team you've got too. As Jimmy Reynolds, he's coming around. He's not far away. He's just over the top. So barring catastrophe, Joel Broughton will salute for the 3rd time in an end. This match is just, I don't think we've ticked over an hour yet. Sitting at 38, no, not even close, 38 minutes so far. And he's gone with a bit of a safe line there. So to be one more to Joel Broughton. 15-4 is the score in favour of Jimmy Reynolds. 6 shots away from victory. I'm heading back to Melbourne on my days off on Saturday, and I just checked the forecast there, Barry. 13 degrees is the top, and I'm not looking forward to that. I have to dress up and layer up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm quite often chatting to my brothers, one in Lakes Entrance, my brother Trav.
Is that T-Bone?
Nah, Trav's in Lakes Entrance and T-Bone's in Bendigo.
Ah, right, okay.
And we're always sort of comparing the weather between the two. Lakes Entrance obviously being in East Gippsland on the coast there. It's always a bit warmer, but my brother is an early starter and he still wears the shorts to work in Bendigo. He sent me a photo the other day with the grass covered in ice.
There's always those people.
Just as I was applying some sunscreen that morning when I was playing competition, I think. So,
but there are always those people, Baz, that you see, and there's always one that's wearing shorts on a really cold day. There's some, even you see them at the footy. There's some, it doesn't matter what the weather is, they will have the Guernsey with nothing underneath, showing their arms, and then they'll be wearing shorts at the same time.
Yeah, I remember I went over to the World Indoor Singles at Potters.
That's in January too.
January, minuses, snow, freezing cold, and I remember I'd wake up just doing what I'd normally do in summer, having just flown over there, and you just put a pair of shorts on, your thongs, and head up to the main resort. Great shot
Broughton
there from Joel, and I'd just put my thongs and shorts on, being tanned, in summer, and I'd walk into a room filled with hundreds of people out for breakfast. And I was just in thongs and shorts, and they're looking at me like an alien. And I'm like, well, this is what I wear back home.
This is what I wear in January normally.
And like, Barry, it's 2 degrees outside. But, yeah, it's a tricky one sometimes, but you just want to be comfortable, don't you? Joel's got a good opportunity here just to back it up, get another one in there.
Yep. And he hasn't won back-to-back ends yet. And the only end that Jimmy Reynolds, the last end that Jimmy Reynolds won was only a 1, and that's the first time he's actually only just scored the solitary shot. He's worked in 2s and 3s. Having said that, 4 of his end wins have been 3s. So he's working quick, is Jimmy Reynolds. You back him in to get one in close here.
Just for Joel's confidence, knowing that it's a sectional format. Now, we don't know what can go on after this game in terms of wins and losses, but just for what Joel needs to get out of this match moving forward. So if Joel draws another one here, that gets his confidence up. It's 15, all of a sudden 15-6 if he holds on to 2 here. And you start aiming to get to 10. And if you can get within 5 or 6, if it's 15-10, you're right in the game. And that's all it takes, just grabbing some momentum. He's not far away here. That's a nice shot.
Close. This should come in for 2.
He's done it.
So Jimmy Reynolds, a little bit of pressure here. It's the first time he's really been asked a major question.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll run here, knowing he's got the back 2. Can swing for both bowls or kill the end. No, he is drawing. First time he's pretty much been under pressure this match, where he's had to find himself getting out of trouble. 2 down.
This is going to come up short. So it's going to be another 2 to Joel Broughton.
Well, it's going to be close. Carroll's...
might be 1 and a measure here.
Not sure if Jimmy quite cut that out. He might have.
Maybe I've gone the early crow.
We'll wait and see. They're having a look at it.
Nah, Jimmy says 2. Or was it 1?
Yeah, they had a quick look.
No, only 1.
It was only 1 in the end. So there you go, a bit of momentum for Joel, and that's what you want. He's taken the mat right back. Yeah, okay, he's going long again here, so that's good for Joel. Just trying to grab not only more momentum, but a little bit of ownership of what he wants from the situation. So he's got the score back to a point where he's like, well, all right, I'm not out of this. I've won a few ends in a row, and now I've got a length that I really want to play. Yep. So that's good to see. Just needs to put a little bit more trust into that forehand in this direction. He had quite a few bowls missing tight. And where that trust comes from, you really relies on your technique. So if you're someone that looks at the bank, what we sometimes fall into a trap of is just looking up and feeling comfortable with the same thing to look at, as opposed to starting completely fresh. Now, if we look at behind the rink in this direction on both players' forehands, we see a bit of signage, we see some words, it's live, Queensland. We've got shade poles and things. So if you're a bank bowler, sometimes it's just good to just start fresh, grab a fresh object if you're a bank bowler. And if not, if you're a green bowler, if you're someone that looks at the green, same thing, just look for a new spot or a new arc and be prepared to overcorrect and work your way in. So Joel's going to at least make a correction in line there. So that should do him for line. Just now needs to take the weight off. But it's just telling yourself it's okay to start fresh instead of trying to pursue what you've already been doing.
So Jimmy Reynolds wants to add another one in. Very close to that checkout zone. So that probably will get in for the count. And then a 2, and he'll be within an end of victory. Joel Broughton wants to avoid that happening for as long as possible.
Yeah, needs connection, does Joel. Not a mile away. He's got Jackal Bowl to... Oh, he's going to gap it. Good effort.
Far out. That was very close. But look at where his 3 bowls are here. Any touch on that jack from a similar line to what he was on.
It's making Jimmy switch, so Jimmy knows he doesn't want to lose a loose 2 or 3 here if Joel happens to come down trailer jack. So he'll try and count and cover. He's telling it to get down, so he's stiff in the end. He's actually filled the gap that Joel just went through, so that gives Joel a little bit more confidence to say to himself, well, if I just play the same bowl, the worst thing I do is sit Jimmy's last one. So
that's where he's going.
So we're looking at sit the bowl or trail the jack here from Joel Broughton. He's still looking at it. This could be a big moment in this match.
He's not a world away here, Barry Lester.
And he's done exactly what I said. So unfortunate for Jimmy Reynolds to put that bowl there to give something for Joel to sit on. And this
now can Jimmy play that same bowl and sit that bowl away?
He can, but he's still got the 3 bowls of Joel's to the bottom right of screen to worry about now. So Jimmy was trying to cover the danger. Yeah. He unfortunately cut across and gave Joel something to sit on. And that's what we say when we frame the head. We're giving you something square or a line, something to sit on. And unfortunately, Jimmy didn't quite work for him there, but he needs to respond here.
The execution from Joel Broughton, sensational. Probably the shot of the day so far, up there with Jimmy Reynolds.
So Jimmy needs to sit that bowl. He won't want to be too big. He doesn't want to kick that jack over to Joel's 3 wing bowls.
Oh, he's not a mile away, Barry Lester.
He's close. He could back cut the jack. Well, he's gone with it. Or guessed. Well, he's gone with it. Well, he might have ran on too far, but those wing bowls of Joel's were always looking like they were in the game, didn't they?
They were waiting like a slips cordon.
So we're going to get a bit of a...
This might be one to Jimmy, though. He might have salvaged something.
I'm looking at Carol's hands with what paddles. She's got a yellow paddle out.
They're going to measure. But everything you said there, Barry, came into fruition.
And that's the beauty, Val, of always having bowls in the scoring zone. Okay, Joel's bowls were offline, but they were in scoring weight territory. And it's so common in the sport of bowls and the history of the game that jacks will move on average across any game around that 3 to 4 feet mark, that sort of yard area. And you've got to be looking to put bowls in that zone as much as you can. And if any jack movement ends up happening, your bowls will come into play. Okay, Joel's were a bit offline, but they were still in that scoring weight zone. And as we saw, when jack movement happens, if you've got them waiting, so he's hung on to one, has Jimmy Reynolds. They've just tapped on that back bowl. Does that mean it was second or does it mean it was shot?
Well, we'll see. Jimmy Reynolds, wow, ended up getting the one after a splendid end. It was cat and mouse right the way through.
Good head of bowls.
Yep, that was sensational. He leads at 16-5.
Well, the jacket's coming off, Val.
I'm keeping mine on. I'm nice and comfortable.
It's warm now.
I like it. I'm enjoying the warmth.
I wonder who, just looking around, you see some of these uniforms and you know some of the countries people have travelled from. I wonder who's travelled from the furthest. Obviously, Anne-Marie and John would be up there.
Oh, they would have to be. From Nova Scotia. That is a long flight.
I wonder if anyone's actually travelled from a further point than them. I know we've got plenty of Malaysians, Hong Kong, China, Korea. But have we got anyone that's travelled further than that? It'd be interesting to know.
Maybe Greenland. But no, I think John and Anne-Marie Siteman, the fact that they come here from Canada every year, it's quite amazing. Jimmy Reynolds back on his own length.
Lovely shot.
This will do. It's just mentally so sound is Jimmy Reynolds. We saw that in that World Championships final against South Africa. Jimmy and Damien Delgado, that was one of the most tense matches that I've witnessed. So mentally, you don't have to worry about Jimmy. Works very well under pressure.
Yeah, class player. We said in singles, you win the mine, you win the game, and he's mentally strong and obviously a class touch player to go with it, as we see there. When you're out there on your own, if you can't win the mine battle, you can't win your own little mine battles, you're in trouble. But as we see, some players elect to have a coach in these events, someone that sits rinkside. You can nominate a coach, and it just works better for some players. Some players like a little bit of communication with someone on the bank every now and then, and if that's what helps your game, why not?
So Jimmy Reynolds with his final bowl. Can he add in another? You betcha. Another pressure bowl for Joel Broughton. What has he got? He's tossed it down on a pretty good line. Still watching.
He needs a bit of help.
Yeah, that's going to drift over the top. So this should be another 3 to James Reynolds, who hasn't had one of those in 5 ends. But I think it will be his fifth 3 of the match. 2 kicked out. And it is a triple to James Reynolds. He's within 2 of victory now. 19-5. This has been clinical so far. Of course, the next sessions bring you those times once again. So 11:45 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Barry, that's in just under 2 hours. That's Gary Ball of Victoria against Darren King of Victoria, section 127. And then after that, we've got Cody Packer against Paul Calvert. It's Paul travelling over here from New Zealand. Cody Packer, of course, so right at home, Jackaroo.
Yeah, I know a few of those players really well. Gary Ball, of course, the father of Chris and Nelson Ball. Quality players back there in Vic. And Gary, well, a really, really good player himself. Found himself right up the top of the rankings a couple of years ago, having got deep in many tournaments. And Gary and Nelson and Chris Ball, I know the family well, former teammates of mine. When we used to play at Mooney Ponds, we had a
Moonee Ponds.
Yeah, a bit of success there back in the day. Went on to win the state pennant and Premier League and all that. So had great to see Gary up here and getting some sunshine. And always love watching what Nelson and Chris get up to with their bowls too, having known them since they were juniors.
Moonee Ponds, a great club there in Queen's Park.
Yeah,
Victoria, Baz.
Definitely. Yeah, no, it's a club that's really utilised their location and maximised their facility. It's
I know the Bellinos there.
Yes, yeah. Well, they do a lot of weddings, receptions, and barefoot bowls, and it's a club that is pretty much a great case study to once you sit down and do some planning and think about what great assets you have and how to utilise them. They are definitely a shining light in that department. Yeah,
it's a great location. It's sort of around
beautiful.
Where I usually go for walks and things like that. And you always say it's a hub of social activity.
Yeah, a lot of weddings in that park, and then to be able to have the receptions there on site's fantastic. So, as we see, Jimmy just trying to play a little bit of cat and mouse here. He doesn't need to go near it. Doesn't want to frame it. Doesn't want to set up anything next to the shot bowl and make it easier for Joel. He's basically saying to Joel here, mate, if you want to stay in the game here, you're going to have to draw a good one.
Yep.
And that's what he's done. So that's enough for second, I believe. Yep. So now Jimmy's got to also, be conscious that he can draw to win or hold game, but also doesn't want to make it easier for Joel again. So backhand, looking to take a yard off. He's pretty good to there. For a bloke that hasn't played many bowls on this backhand today, Jimmy Reynolds just says, you know what? Doesn't matter what hand it is.
Yeah, I'm Jimmy Reynolds and I can do anything. He was pretty happy with himself there too. So Joel Broughton, down game. This is to stay in it and continue this first session for him from Avoca Beach. What has he got?
Needs to turn. He's trying hard here.
It's coming. Just rocks off the side. But that will do. Jimmy Reynolds ends up being a wall around the jack. And that will be enough. We'll get the confirmation. But the world champion ensures that he is moving through to session 2. After a victory in session 1, he overcomes Joel Broughton, who played pretty well, 21-5. We had Cheryl Linfield, his Jackaroo's teammate, watching on. And everybody was in awe watching Jimmy here at the Broadbeach Bowls Club. But he overcomes Joel Broughton 21-5 and opens his 2024 Australian Open campaign in perfect fashion. Barry Lester, I'll see you in an hour and 48 minutes' time.
Plenty of time to go and grab a few croissants, Val.
Oh, yes, I might be going to sample one of those very, very shortly. Thank you very much. We'll see you shortly. And the Australian Open, of course, proudly supported by Experience Gold Coast and the Queensland Government through Tourism and Events Queensland. Jimmy Reynolds, he's off and running at the 2024 Australian Open, and day 2, well and truly off and running here on Rinkside Live. We'll see you shortly.